What's up, guys? Jake Hoback Knives, and I'm bringing you another New Knife Wednesday. Today, we've got some really exciting stuff to show you. So let's dive right in to the Sliver. So, first and foremost, I want to apologize. I have been totally behind on all this video stuff. The whole woohoo flu has been, taking up a great deal of time. We're considered an essential business because we have an FFL and we manufacture firearm stuff, and then we also do some machine shop work for different companies and stuff like that. So it keeps us open. So we've had to do the whole social distancing and all that fun stuff, keeping people safe and all the fun stuff that goes along with that. But it hasn't really slowed us down in the shop. We've actually been full tilt boogie, but it has slowed down a lot of our vendors. So that really put a damper on how quickly we could get a few things out. One of the big things was the Radford project. That's our 3 1/4 inch blade Hoback flipper. That one was pretty severely delayed, and I apologize to everybody about that pre-ordered that. We did manage to get all that stuff done and taken care of. It was just, pretty impacted by all of this, stay-at-home orders and all that fun stuff. So, such is life. But we roll on, and we are always striving to do better, make better products, and all of the like. So we'll dive into the Sliver, which is a new prototype we just got in. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Jake Hoback. Been making knives for the last 20 years, and I've dedicated the last 20 years of my life to perfecting my craft. I'd like to think that I'm pretty decent at it. I would hope to think you see the same thing. If you don't know who I am, just do a Google search, I guess. Or I guess I don't even know why you'd be watching this video if you don't know who I am. But at any rate, I've done everything from aerospace parts to building racing chassis, rock crawling, all the like. And I'm a machinist by trade. I've gotten pretty decent at it over the years, and we specialize in knives for the most part. We do a little bit of machine work in other industries. Like I said, I've got the firearms setup that we do. We make custom silencers through Hoback Inc. So, whole essential business remaining open kind of thing works out in the pandemic on that. But like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm really hoping that I can just continue to get better. So look for new and exciting things as often as I can possibly do it. The pandemic thing has actually been kind of a blessing in disguise in that it allowed me a little bit of extra freedom to do some design work and do some collaborative work. We're firing back up the NASA project. That took a little bit of a hiatus with obviously the pandemic, and also with some projects that RB had rocking and rolling in the JPL industry and Mars rover and all that fun stuff. So look for that in the future. But let's dive right into the latest prototypes that we've gotten in from our machine shops. And I wanted to kind of give you some specifications on it to kind of amp you guys up and get you rocking and rolling on this. So, the Sliver. The Sliver is a pretty sweet little knife. Take a look at this guy here. Gotta make sure I stay in the lighting. So, it's a pretty small knife for what I'm used to seeing. The Hoback is almost a 4-inch blade. This guy is, we're looking at, let's see, 3 1/4, give or take. It's always a little bit of a challenge to make a knife work exactly to a scale, but let's give you some perspective there. So at any rate, overall length on this guy is 7 1/2. It's got a 3 1/4 inch blade, like I said. The width of the blade is kind of neat. It's not something I do often, but at the thickest point, it's about 3/4 of an inch. At the thinnest point, obviously it tapers off to a point, but the thinnest point before it transitions to the Japanese Tano is just shy of a 1/2 inch. So you've got a good 1/4 inch taper from the plunge to the transition line, which is pretty nice. Makes for a very, very stabby knife. The handle is very sweeping curve, rounded on the spine, and it is just at a 1/2 inch thick, give or take. We use the HRD on this guy, stainless lock inserts. We're working out on new pivot systems, just working out new anti-rotation points, things that may not be so much easier to manufacture, but they're much easier to do assembly. So when you guys are taking your knives apart, one of the problems that I ran into, or more of something unique to our knives, is that we've always done the cammed pivot system, which is basically the head of the pivot is round, but it's eccentric from the bore of the barrel. So it's offset by 3/1000ths, and then so is the counter bore in the frame. So what you can do is you just drop it, you rotate it in, it drops into the counter bore, and then you assemble like normal. What can happen sometimes is if you're not super careful with that, you can get a piece of debris in there, or you can not seat the pivot all the way down, and sometimes it will cant the blade. So, just trying to, do poke yoke, which is error proofing, in the Toyota way, or lean manufacturing, I guess, if that's a better way to put it. Error proofing the process, not only for my guys when they're doing assembly, but also for you guys when you're taking these knives apart, because we encourage you to take your knife apart and clean it. I know there's not a lot of companies out there. We trust you guys enough to do that, and if you can't figure it out, we've done videos on reassembly on the knives. I'd like to do a video on every knife, but for the most part, all of the knives work the same, so you can manage that. So yeah, long story short, making the pivots a little bit simpler for assembly, not so much for manufacturing, but it does make life easier for you guys and us in the assembly process. So, I'm always trying to make things better for the end user. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's easier for me to, machine the parts or have the parts machined or what have you, but, it's one of those things. I'm always trying to innovate and make the tool a better tool. And also, I'm really getting tired of cleaning your guys' bubblegum lint out of your pocket knives when you send them in. So, if I can make it easier for you to take the knife apart and clean it the way you're supposed to take care of any tool, hey, that makes my life easier. That's poke yoke. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. So, all the grammar Nazis, feel free to comment below if you want to. I'll ignore you. So, let's dive right back into the Sliver. Aptly named. It's very sliverish looking, and if this gets under your skin, I don't think you're going to be coming back from that. It's awfully pointy. Blade thickness. So we wanted to play with a little bit thinner materials on a couple of knives. I've really been enjoying doing that. This is 1/8 inch thick blade stock. Production run on these guys is going to be CPM 20 CV on the blade steel. I love me some 20 CV. It's pretty much the same thing as M390. Well, actually, it's identical. It's just made by a different company. And it's a lot more readily available than M390. I heard there was a big fire that damaged the plant that makes the M390, so, made it, it did for a while there, made it a lot more challenging to acquire, raw stock. It's ramping back up now. I think they got everything taken care of, so it's not really a big thing. So don't go out and clamor for M390. It's not going anywhere. It's just, as from a manufacturing perspective, CPM steels have typically been a little bit easier to source. That hasn't always been the case, so we're constantly switching around. But M390 20 CV, same steel, different manufacturer. I haven't personally noticed any difference between the two in machining and or grinding or sharpening or anything like that. Not one is any easier to put the finish on it or anything. So I don't really think there's any difference between the two. Both companies are amazing companies with what they do. They're very specialized, so they should be. So handle thickness, like I said, is just shy 1/2 inch, but the frames themselves are 5/32 titanium. Obviously, that's our thing. And this little guy just fits the hand. It's not only does it forward and reverse grip, but just phenomenal in the way how feels like a very small knife, and even just putting it in my hand, and I'll take some stills and put these up so you can see it better. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I've been really enjoying just playing with, you know, more complex design features. Really been enjoying that. We're gonna do this in Stonewash, and we're gonna do it in Black DLC Fallout. That's our go-to. We're actually considering doing this run is a split run where we do some Stonewash and some Black DLC Fallout, and then do some alternate realities where we have black blades on Stonewash frames and black frames on Stonewash blades, you know, vice versa, just to, you know, change things up. So, you know, it's nice to have the precision that we have in our machining processes to be able to interchange parts without a whole lot of fitment. So yeah, we've been tinkering with that. So that is the Sliver. That is one that I'm pretty excited about. I was pretty stoked with how it just turned out. So smooth and elegant. It's not very often that I get an opportunity to make something that's kind of slim, a little bit more elegant, but still very like industrial look to it. So pretty excited about that. So that's the Sliver. We did actually go back and make some revisions to our Sumo knife. Give you guys a couple of quick sneak peeks at the next couple of videos that we're going to be doing. The original prototype, I did a quick sneak peek on the Sumo, and one of the problems that I had was a bit of a miscommunication with our machine shop, and we ended up making it a button lock flipper that wasn't actually a flipper, and it's supposed to be. So it was actually locking in the closed position. So we got that sorted out, and we got the newest prototype in, and voila, we have our button lock flipper. And let's give you a backer for that so you can kind of see it a little better. Turned out awesome. Super stoked about this. Did an Instagram post where I just showed it off really quick, and I think everybody really liked that. So look for the video on this very soon. Potentially we'll put this one out next week. Thumb stud opener, slow roll if you want to from the blade pocket. And there's also a hidden feature, which I'll show off in the next video, that is going to blow your mind. So moving on from there, one that has been like, we've literally been working on this project for over a year. We've had tons of requests for it. I've done quite a number of custom kitchen knives over the years, and you know, it's like, my wife is absolutely amazing. She like cooks everything from scratch, so she's typically my guinea pigs, and she's had a kitchen knife that I made probably 8 or 9 years ago. And you know, 3 kiddos, me, I eat a lot, growing kiddos eat a lot, so she's constantly in the kitchen cooking awesome, amazing meals. And I've gotten her several kitchen knives over the years, you know, for Mother's Days and Christmas and birthdays and all that fun stuff. And you know, I've done customs for other people and collectors and stuff, and everybody's really liked it. And it was more of just a traditional American style, you know, chef knife. I wanted to go a little bit more Japanese sushi knife inspired on this set, so I have spent the better part of a year just working with different chefs, different collaborators, just helping me understand, you know, what it is that goes into making a awesome Japanese style knife. So I have spent a great number of hours revising drawings, doing prototyping over the last year and a half, and pretty stoked. Give you a quick sneak peek on these bad boys. We did 3 of them. This will be a video that we'll do very shortly on this, just to see how what you guys think. I mean, I spent 6 months dealing with coatings just so that we could make a tactical kitchen knife with the perfect coating on it. Coatings are challenging when it comes to being food safe and that will hold up to a kitchen, because, you know, I don't know about you, but I know that like the kitchen knife is the knife that I end up having to sharpen the most out of the entire household. It gets used and beat up and run through the dishwasher, and just, it's craziness. They're constantly being abused. So it's difficult to get a good coating on them. So we managed to find an awesome DLC coating for black that holds up really well. After several different revisions and chemical compositions, we managed to knock that out of the park. So we have a And God forbid, I just have not been able to memorize the names on everything, so forgive me. 3 kids and lack of sleep will do that to you. But we have a Sentuku, and I'm probably just destroying the name on that. Very traditional style blade shape. We didn't want, on the first run of kitchen knives that we did for production, I didn't want to vary too far off the beaten path, because one, I'm not a chef, so I'm relying on information from other chefs, or from chefs, from my wife and different people that we've sent prototypes out to just to kind of get an idea. And I wanted to go very traditional blade shape. I put my flare on the handle. Obviously I can't go with it like totally off the wall, but carbon fiber handles, deeply scalloped on the rear with a good taper to the handle, so it's not going to pull out of your hand. It fits the hand nicely. Chef knives are not supposed to have a giant handle, at least the Japanese style knives from all of my research. So this is, the handle on these guys is, on the Sentuku, we actually increased it to about 5 inches. All the other knives are about between 4.5 and 4 5/8 inches long. So they're not enormous handles, but I'm in between a large and a medium glove, and it sticks out about 1/4 inch on the end of my hand here. So that way you can see, and this is the smallest version, and the name of this knife, it's a traditional style. I can't pronounce the name. I'll write it down, and we'll do it on the next video. Smaller, kind of boning, paring style knife, and then kind of the traditional Japanese style of kind of like a meat cleaver. We did do a V grind on these instead of a chisel grind on some of them. I'm not a huge fan of chisel grinds, and all of the chefs and stuff that I talked to were not a huge fan of chisel grinds. That might go against the grain on some people, but V grind is what everybody knows. It's what everybody knows how to use best. So we're gonna go with the most end user functional piece that we possibly can. So look for the videos on these guys and the Sumo very shortly, and also our tried and true Trek axe. That one has been one that we've been needing to do a video on for quite a while. It's definitely one of the ones that can be beaten to death. So look for that. Hey guys, really appreciate you guys watching the channel. Please smash that subscribe button down below. Give us your comments. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, comment below. Send us an email at our website, which is www.jhobackknives.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook, the normal social media stuff. So make sure you're subscribing, you're smashing that like button, keep the algorithm working for us, and yeah, stay tuned for the next set of videos. Appreciate you guys. God bless.